All right. Sorry about that. I was taking a few moments there to get actually a login to Restream. It would not log me in, so I apologize for the 2-minute delay in going live here now. Let me move this here. At the moment, there are no SaberSim projections. We can talk through that on our own. I will be doing the paywall show because at this point we have several people, not only just this week but in general. Like Alex, one of the users has specifically asked, just do a paywall show. Like we're pretty much at that point. So we'll certainly be doing a paywall show for sure. But I mean, the wants, desires, and everything already there for these paywall shows and stuff. Just giving you guys a heads up, because a lot of people have liked them. Um, we also have, or currently right now, the dashboard on WordPress, which is another reason why we are uh, currently working on our new site and pretty much in the actual final steps of that. The plugin that we're using on WordPress for whatever reason just literally stopped working like 30 minutes ago. So this is what the dashboard looks like. Obviously, week in and week out, it's just not on the site right now. That app is down. You can find it in the Discord channel yet again, which is why. Also, like at this point, everybody should just have a Discord. It's integrated in so many different aspects of life. I don't know why people would not be using Discord at this point. But this dashboard will be found in there since it is currently down on the site. As we look at um, this race, I want to quickly talk about the Alfredo and the Suarez, situations and stuff. Now, when we look at where Alfredo has been, I just want to point out that this is where, and I mean, this is the last 10 races. I mean, we're going back into 2023 at this point. And we're looking at the road course races that he's been at. Alfredo has been absolutely horrific from a DFS perspective this year, right? When we're looking at what Alfredo has been doing, there's been a reason that he hasn't really been viable. I mean, this is an instance of where he's starting, where he's finishing and stuff. When we look at just where he's been at this year, let's talk it over really fast and let's look at where he's been at, pretty much like starting 23rd, finishing 29th, and he's been running in the back half of the field. In situations where he's finished well, it's due to late race yellows and stuff, and still he's finishing one lap down, even in situations where he's finishing 18th and stuff. But we look at these races, and yeah, I mean, he's had good races, like, an instance at Rockingham, which is actually, pretty much his best run outside of that in Texas and stuff, which I think everybody wrecks at Texas and everything. Alfredo has been pretty terrible, running like 26 in most races. Okay. The fact that we have Alfredo starting in the back of the field in a wrecked car that they're not going to go to a backup car. Obviously, they don't have enough time to do that. I just want to point out that really fast that I think you just full fade Alfredo. I mean, I'm assuming that him, Eckes, Suarez, and so on and so forth is going to be really, really popular. I would just not play Alfredo and just let him, beat himself. That's my real opinion on him. When we're looking at where these scoring ranges are falling and stuff, okay, yet again, when we're looking, anywhere between, obviously, race winner, highest place differential guy, whatever the case. But when we're looking at, really from like fifth to like ninth of where this guy's going to end up scoring at the end of this race, right? We're looking at 41 median for ninth best, 42.35, 44. When we look at six, we're right at 45, and we're at 47 DraftKings points for your fifth highest score, right? So we're not going to be having a lot of um, real drastic difference. If you're just scoring in the 40s, you're going to be competing to be, a top scorer. I'm hoping. I haven't heard anything. I know we're currently working on it. I know Goldie and Griffin are currently working on it. But what I was gonna do is, like, this is a great example of when Lap at Lap tool is live. And everything we've done, you can just look at where people are scoring at any specific lap in these races, and you're going to see that it's a pretty significant fall off between your top scorers, and then obviously, guys running out your top 8 scores, and then just a drastic fall off. I mean, even here, when we're just looking, I normally don't care about the rest of the field or what they're doing, but you look at the 12th to 15th best scorers at road courses in the Xfinity series. I mean, 12th is scoring 37 points, 36 is 13th, 34 and a half is 14th. Okay. And so when we're looking at this grid, it's understandable that we're very much from a projection standpoint looking at guys either starting up front or looking at the 8 or 9 guys in the back of the field who can score high 30s, at least 40s. Okay, I understand when we're looking at this, we're seeing fifth, sixth, and seventh. We need 40s and stuff, but from a projection standpoint, if I can't even envision you scoring like 36 points as a floor, I'm not going to play you today. Yet again, when we look at and we can even go ahead and look at these scoring ranges and stuff, and then really focus on. Now, yet again, we're just looking at different road courses since we haven't ran at this track before. So we're just looking at what's going on at Normally Distributed. What's going on, Michael? What's going on, Stanley? When we're looking at these tracks, and even when we just sort by highest scoring points here, okay, I mean 70, 70, 69 is pretty much the absolute ceiling of any individual driver, especially when we're looking at um, Gregson going from 37th to winning the race, or going from 37th to finishing third at the Charlotte Road Course years ago. For the most part, we're going to probably see your highest scorer, most likely either Connor, uh, Gibbs, or Bell, fall in this high 60 category. The reason being is when we're looking, when we start looking at the amount of laps that these guys are leading, you know, um, obviously this is Charlotte, Indy, but for the most part, a realistic laps led projection for your highest scorer in this race is right around 26 laps. With this track only being 65 laps, we're probably looking in the range of like 23, 24, in that range there. And then with your fast laps, probably looking at like anywhere from 11 to probably 18. That's the realistic range for what Connor Zillage should be able to do, or Gibbs or whatever. But like, for example, like I think Connor's probably going to score, probably looking in the range of 55 to 61 points on the raw total. I mean, obviously that's going to be slightly over 5x return, but we're looking at just raw points here today. That's why uh, I don't know why Saberson takes so long here. But that's why when we're looking at this, these guys in the back of the field, Eckes, who clearly has speed, Poole has been who has been a phenomenal plate racer. Realistically, when we're looking at where Poole starts in these races, I mean, yet again, it's kind of like, you know, every week, we play Infinger, we play Ryan Blaney, we play, Poole if he's starting in the back of the field, especially at $5,600 or $5,700. We're looking at where Poole performs in these races at road courses. I mean, he is outside of the crash. He's going to compete for a top 20 today. Like Poole is the best play on the slate. Maybe not from a projection standpoint, but when we're looking at somebody who is most likely going to finish inside the top 20 in nearly any situation, Poole is there. Okay. Now, what does that look like? If he finishes, right at like 21st or whatever, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, just a decent day of actually doing, not even his ceiling performance, he's going to be scoring like 32 points. He does anything better, start competing here, obviously a guy who could, easily score 40 points. Same thing with Eckes, same thing with Ryan Sieg, same thing with Suarez, Anthony Alfredo. That's why, ownership is going to be so condensed down here, and why I would, at least what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to play Alfredo today. I think there's much better plays here than anybody chasing the chalk of, the guy starting dead last. Uh, you know, I think the pool is extremely small today and stuff like that. As we look through, the rest of the dashboard, who's been the best at short tracks now? This is I have this sorted by speed rankings and stuff here. But just for the fact that we're going to a road course, that's when I do want to use, or at least where we can see where everybody's at on Racing Reference, and you can very just quickly visualize, where these guys are at in terms of like skill, right? Obviously, I think I got it sorted right now by I don't know what I have it sorted by. We'll go by average finish really fast. And obviously, we're gonna have the cup guys thrown in there too. But when we're looking at people like, if you want to see where, Josh Bilicki falls in line, hey, like, guys, obviously 65 laps, if we're stacking people in the back, or a majority of people starting in the back of the field, and we're trying to look at somebody who has the potential of scoring, 40 points, I mean, Balicki would end up checking all those boxes. Guys in the back of the field check all those boxes. The reason why I'm focusing on that so much is when we start looking at where everybody else is at up front, obviously I mentioned, all the guys in the back, but like who are contenders to score mid 40s, if not push that 50 barrier, who are or of the expensive drivers starting up front. Obviously, first and foremost would be Justin Allgaier. Now, he hasn't had obviously, two top fives and four top tens and stuff. Allgaier has had performances to where he would not end up being, he would not end up scoring well enough on a slate like this. But it's very rare that we at least see him starting, outside of the top 10. He's starting 12th today, most of the time, maybe most of the time. But most likely to be running in 7th to 6th all day outside of something actually happening and stuff. He's probably the most likely person who isn't priced at an outrageous price tag. When we start looking at these guys up here, obviously 10K for Gibbs, Bell, and Connor, all these guys work against each other. They cannibalize each other. Obviously, no two combinations of these two drivers are going to work at their price tags and stuff. So it's whoever scores the most between these three guys. I understand if you want to use Bell or Gibbs to get different. In fact, Gibbs being $1,000 cheaper on paper seems like a decent place. Certainly when he's slightly faster than Connor, but I just believe that Connor is a much better driver than Gibbs's heads up. When we're looking at Gibbs and Connor versus Bell, I think you give the edge slightly to Connor and stuff. Usually, if pricing was very very tight and it was much more of a every thousand matters or whatever, I would actually prefer Gibbs and Bell from a ROI perspective, from a leverage perspective, over Connor Zillage. But the fact that salary isn't in play at all in this race, as stated, with people like Poole, people like Balicki, hell, even Chris Wright at 5K, we haven't even talked about Retzloff or anybody else. Like, salary is not an issue today, so the leverage or benefit that you get for playing Bell and Gibbs at a much lower price tag is kind of thrown out the window. I would just take Connor Zillage straight up. Rest of people up front, it's just very, very difficult for them to be scoring, in a range that would kind of force their way into being in that 44, 45 point area. I talked about Justin Allgaier, the second guy that could potentially have or realistically do that would potentially be Sammy Smith at $8,200. When we're looking at what Sammy Smith is not on Racing Reference. So when we're looking at Sammy Smith's price tag at 8,200, outside of Nicholas Sanchez, he's the cheapest guy in the top 10. I really do like his speeds that he ran, especially once they made adjustments and went back out. I mean, he's right up there with these guys. I would not be shocked to see Sammy Smith run 4th to 5th all day and compete to finish 3rd or whatever. But just due to the fact that we're kind of forced to play Suarez at 10.5, we're forced to play another $10,000 guy and take the raw points. It really nulls a lot of the potential plays that we usually see. They're squeak in as like a one-off or whatever at these road courses, especially at road courses that have very little laps and stuff. So I don't really have a ton of interest in guys up here. I think a majority of my lineups will have Connor Zillage, Daniel Suarez, and then going by whatever my projections say at that point. As stated, let me see if Saberson is live yet, because otherwise I can't really do anything, and they are not. Let me go ahead and refresh the browser to see if they are, because I'd like to go to the paywall show at least with some data up that isn't just mine. We are an hour and 50 minutes away from the start of the slate. Let's see. Thank you very much, Stanley. How much is the Discord? The Discord. Hold on, please. Hold on, driver. As stated, at least usually in most videos, these are our packages. Now we do have a NASCAR only package for $40. It was cheaper at the start of the year, as stated that it was going to go up. That was to encourage people to get in on that early if they just wanted the NASCAR package. What I would just encourage you to do at this point is get any of the SaberSim packages with us, because not only with any of these three, obviously this is just NASCAR stuff. This is just projections for NASCAR and everything. These three packages, not only do you have all the TrueDFS projections, that's Goldie's, that's my projections, and that's Sheets' projections for any sport that they were playing, which is, MLB. Now we don't have, hockey's coming to an end here, NBA's coming to an end, or hockey already ended. I don't know who the fuck watches hockey, right? Unless I have friends telling me to watch it, I don't even know when hockey ends. But alongside of all our projections, you also get pay dirt analytics as well, the stuff that James has worked together on his own projections and company. We're partnered with him, and then obviously we're partnered with SaberSim. So you basically get three different sites under these packages, and the price difference is related to what version of SaberSim you have. All these have access to the Discord. So I mean, I guess if you want to pay $40 for Discord, you can pay $40 for Discord, but I would highly encourage you to go ahead and join any of these packages. At the moment, if you use code finals 2025, you get 33% off your first month on any of the SaberSim packages. Or if you got real deep pockets and you just want to have literally the best value in the industry, we hear that a lot, but literally three sites in one for 3K a year. The guys who actually who want to pay that money. I mean, this is unbelievable. This discount is unbelievable. If you want to pay annually. So that answers your question, Stanley. If you want to join, and then as stated, I don't believe the dashboards are backups yet again. You can get this on Discord if you want to look at it in further. What is it? In further detail. So I'm jumping around and talking about stuff. Let's see. Go back here. Got so many tabs open today. I will say that I think this trip to Mexico City has been extremely tough on the bottom half of the field. So not only equipment wise and stuff, but I think I really do, outside of like the first lap, I think this is a really green race, almost similar to like how Portland has been. And then I mean, if we get a fucking yellow at 7 to go, we get a yellow at 7 to go. Can't help it there, right? But I really don't know if we have. I mean, we could be. I mean, we have 2 guaranteed yellows. We're probably gonna have. I would expect 6 yellows, probably 2 mechanical failures, like 2 guys losing brakes down the front straightaway. No, this is kind of my thoughts really fast. Let's see what's going on Eagles. What's going on Ross? Austin Green. I don't think hockey sucks. I just I don't watch hockey like a diehard. Once the Stars and Kings fall out, I just kind of stop watching. Because I'm not hand building and using tape for some shy cat, everyone has a certain percentage. I'll start to make sure I'm not 80% on somebody. I feel like the volatility to this series race could be high. I mean that's on your choice. I'm gonna play 100% Suarez and 100% Connor Zillage. That's probably where I'm gonna be at, and then just play 1v1s on the other guys. And I would probably do that if I was playing 5 lines, if I was doing 20. I think Connor Zilic and Suarez are the 2 guys you build around. Suarez is not very good, right? But he is a top 5 driver in this field. I would very much put a lot of my money and faith on the driver born in Mexico performing well at Mexico. Like he literally kicked the shit out of the field when they raced at LA in the Mexico series. Like why would you not play Suarez today? Like dead crew member Juju, whatever, like all that aside, you play Suarez at Mexico because he's either gonna, wreck himself or probably finish like, 6th or whatever. And that's a great day for Suarez. Or, who know I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I'm sure that's what my stuff will show when we go into the paywall show. But that's, I mean, this is a race to specifically the guys in the back of the field, um, with Ryan Sieg, Poole, Eckes, Suarez. You want to be over the field on these guys in the back of the field, and just by the force of doing that, when they're probably going to come in anywhere from 45 to 55% ownership on a lot of these guys in the back of the field. Getting to 80% ownership is just how you get over the field. I would not be shocked to see, yet again, if you pull the CSV from this one and use our tool that we talk about when we look at the contest analyzer and stuff, and you look at a lot of the MME guys and high volume players, high entry players rather in the main. It's going to be a lot of like 3v3s with a like heavy chalk in their own portfolio and stuff. Especially when you get to now, yes, volatility can come into play at a track where there can potentially be a lot of wrecks, but we also lose the volatility in terms of fast laps and laps not available. Okay, so it just comes down to where people finish in these races. The drivers who have good cars and good equipment and who just have more skill than the other people, as stated, as I showed, like Brennan Poole at a road course straight up can finish 15th, like with nothing happening, right? Um, I would encourage you to play the good players over people like Ryan Ellis, over people like Blaine Perkins, over Thomas, over Sage Karam in the 53, right? When we look at this range here, like how far is De Benedetto really going to get? Probably 15th at like the best case situation. Like, play the good guys and the good cars in the back of the field. What about them engine failures due to altitude? You know, um, could be it. I'm not concerned about that with the good teams. Now, ECR can fuck shit up or whatever. I'm assuming if you're paid to work at an engine manufacturing shop, you're gonna know, like you're gonna factor these things in. I'm not concerned about engine failures and even brake failures for the top tier teams. I think that like Alfredo, like for like literally, Alfredo's talking earlier or even right now about how he lost. Um, oh man, dude, where are we at? Yeah, dude, like lost brakes in a turn four. You kidding me? How many laps did you do, Alfredo? And you're and you and little young motorsports. You guys did a grand total of 3 laps and lost brakes, right? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, right? Like, Junior Motorsports is not going to deal with that. The back half of the field is. I will say that that's kind of why I'm a bit hesitant on Retzloff, and even Poole to an extent. But the fact that Retzloff was able to get through the field, or get through practice, fine. Poole got through it fine. I'm sure Tommy J. Martins will find something to bitch about post race or whatever. But in the back of the field, in terms of guys that I actually consider playing, we have Perez too, which I don't remember how Perez has done. I know he's not going to be in our stuff really fast. He's not in. He hasn't queued for a lot of road courses. Take a really quick look at the races that Brad has ran for Tommy Joe. Might have to go back into last year. 28th, 23rd, 35th. DNQ'd for Austin, yeah. I think he DNQ'd for another race last year. Oh, yeah, DNQ'd for Chicago. 26, Charlotte, Sonoma 24th, Austin 18th, right? So, you look at Poole, Perez, obviously Eckes and stuff like there's so many people back here that actually have a head on their shoulders that can finish in the top 20. Like salary doesn't matter. Just like actual, like, are these guys stupid or not? Like that's the question I would honestly ask for a majority of these people. Like, is the team competent, and is the driver smart or is the driver stupid? what is the IQ of the driver? Those should be the two things that factor into if you play somebody at 8 or not. Thank you, Alexander, for talking about the paywall show, because a lot of people have enjoyed it. But yeah, I just don't think the mechanical failures will be hindering anybody that I anticipate playing. Um, if I was playing, as I said, like Young Motorsports, I'm concerned about the equipment. Um, if you're in the back, if you're a back marker, if you typically run 25th on back, I'd really be concerned about how slow you are and how bad the equipment could be. And all I can really do is just hope that when you lose brakes, you don't plow into a driver I have, right? That's kind of my point of view. Past that, I think I've covered about everything I wanted to in the free show. We are a grand total of an hour and 40 minutes away from the start of the slate. I'll go ahead and end this one, and then I'll transition to the paywall show, which you could find yet again in the Discord. That's where I just post everything related to the paywall shows and stuff. And we'll go in there and look specifically at what we're building and trying an idea of where the field is going. And just see the builds that we're running into. So I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the free show as well. And then, see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.